The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Oh, what has happened here? Oh my goodness. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I don't know what happened there. It's Thursday, the third day of April 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone feeling today? It is, in the words of the younger millennials and Gen Zers, it is Friday Junior today. Happy Friday, Junior, to everybody. One day away from Sherry's favorite day of the week, and probably one of my least favorites. Because I mean, I wouldn't say I have a least favorite, but I'm a Monday guy myself. But happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's a different kind of feeling today. Yesterday is known in the United States. Well, I mean, I can't say known in the United States. It's like calling the Gulf of America. But according to President Trump, it's Liberation Day as of yesterday, and we'll get into what Liberation Day means for Bermuda. But happy Thursday to everyone. How's everyone feeling today? How did you sleep? I know yesterday morning we had so many people who were talking about thunder and lightning overnight, and feeling a little off. I see Charles has woke up with the jokes this morning. Says, "Was that little Jamel over there?" I don't know what happened there, Charles. I don't know. I think I pressed the button and there I was, decides that sharing makes people believe I am, But anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Kelly Hunt on from the Coalition for the Protection of Children. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so we're going to be speaking about what the organization does to engage and educate, not just during this month, but throughout the year. The Daily Play is a name that place today. Yeah, it's a name that place, and pretty easy question. You all say, "Oh, you say that all the time, Jamel." No, it is. It really is an easy question this morning. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, real quickly, audience, I want to say last night we had a little boo-boo on the dailyhour.com. It said that some folks were trying to purchase tickets for the gala, and it said sold out. So we've fixed the issue, and you can now go on there and purchase your tickets, but it is a limited amount of tickets left. All right, so if you haven't purchased and you want to be a part of something special, learn the importance of local media, the role that you play. And right now, more than ever, I think as we get into this morning's conversation, you'll understand why what we're doing is probably as important as any industry in Bermuda, because we're about to have a conversation. And I don't think it's about fear-mongering, as they like to say, or being scared. But I was reading CNN this morning, and I'm going to go through some things, what some of the world leaders are saying about Trump's tariffs. But I'm just going to put it out there. The question of the morning in a bit. But Sahima Chaudhry says, feeling good this morning, recovering from birthday weekend celebrations, and a happy belated birthday to you. Wishing you many, many, many more years of good health and happiness. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Thursday, Jamal. It's definitely a different day. I woke up thinking it was Friday. Hello, one more day. Slept very well. Ching, ching. All right. Happy to hear that. Shamari's guys says, good morning, people. Enjoying my $2 cup of coffee before inflation goes crazy. Well, I mean, it's funny, but it's not, right? Because look, man, this is a very interesting time. And in one of my chat groups this morning, one of my boys says, I wonder basically how long is the government going to stay silent of Bermuda before they say something? I mean, this is Donald Trump's literally turned the global economy on its head. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that's neither here or there, but it's about to get interesting. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll get into it. But this is the daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right. Question of the morning. How should the government of Bermuda respond to Trump's tariffs? How do you believe the government should respond? And just a yes or no. Are you concerned about Trump's tariffs? Or are you know what? Hey, I prepared myself for this. I'm good. I don't, I'm not as reliant on what's shipped to Bermuda. Like, are you concerned by it at all? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go to the Bermuda Broadcasting Company, right? So there was a report on BBC.bn by Gary Foster Skelton, and says proposed U.S. port fees could triple cost and terminate operations. Let me share my screen so you all can walk along with me as I read from Bermuda Broadcasting's website. So John White, the chairman of the Bermuda Container Line, told U.S. officials they would be forced to terminate business operations if proposed $1 million port fees are implemented as written. The fees would almost triple shipping costs, he said. In February, the Trump administration proposed an up to $1.5 million entry fee for any Chinese-built vessel entering a U.S. port. This follows a United States trade representative investigation that determined China had unreasonably targeted the maritime, logistics, and shipbuilding sectors. China now holds more than 50% of global shipbuilding tonnage and controls 95% of the production of shipping containers. Bermuda Container Line's vessel, the Oleander, was built in China and launched in 2018. At a public hearing in the U.S. last week, the chair of BCL, John White, told a panel that the proposed port fees will be catastrophic for both BCL and Bermuda. He said, for a company with $30 million in annual revenues with a net income of roughly $1 million, the additional financial cost to our company would amount to $76 million. BCL would be forced to terminate its business operations. It would be impossible to absorb the new fees and impossible to pass on the cost of the fees to our customers, almost tripling their current shipping costs. BCL recognizes and respects the United States' right to take action against unfair trade practices. However, we urge the USTR to consider creating exemptions for small island countries such as Bermuda. When asked for an example of such an exemption, Mr. White proposed a per container charge rather than an overall fee per vessel, which he said could potentially be absorbed by the company and or consumers. Folks, that's a scary read right there. I'm not here to tell anyone that, I'm not here to play the politics of it. I'm not here to play politics with you about this. I'm here to really read it as I understand it. Let's go through some comments here that were shared by world leaders. And, when I say world leaders, we're talking about I don't see any African nations here, so it's mainly European. But here's how some countries are responding. Australian Prime Minister says that for Australia, these tariffs are not expected, but let me be clear, they are totally unwarranted. Trump referred to reciprocal tariffs. A reciprocal tariff would be 0, not 10%. The admin's tariffs have no basics in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. Swedish Prime Minister said free enterprise and competition have laid the foundations of the West's success. That's why Americans can listen to music on Swedish Spotify, and we Swedes can listen to the same music on our American iPhones. This is why I deeply regret the path the US has embarked on, seeking to limit trade with higher tariffs. Ireland's head says, my priority and that of the government is to protect Irish jobs and the Irish economy, and we will work with our companies, multinational companies and Irish companies, to navigate the period ahead. Poland's prime minister said friendship means partnership. Partnership means really and truly reciprocal tariffs. Adequate decisions are needed. A French government spokesperson said, accused Donald Trump, President Trump, of wanting to be master of the world in a real personal attack on the US president. Sophie Primus told French radio the tariffs would be a hard blow for the international and European economies, but said Europe will continue to negotiate with the US. The EU is preparing countermeasures. Danish foreign minister said, it's beyond me that the US wants to start a trade war against Europe. No one's a winner, everyone loses. Instead of raising walls, we should bring down barriers. Norwegian Minister of Trade and Industry said, we are doing the calculations and looking through what has come, but it is obvious that this is serious for the world economy and it is critical for Norway. What we can at first glance is 20% tariffs against the European Union and at least 10 to 15% against Norway. That is of great importance because we also send a lot of exports to the EU. And president of the Swiss Federation says the federal council has taken note of the U.S. decisions on tariffs. It would quickly determine the next steps. The country's long-term economic interests are the priority. Respect for international law and free trade are fundamental. Audience, what are your thoughts on this? I've just given you a lot to consider. How should Bermuda, this small island, you heard John White saying instead of charging per vessel, maybe for small islands like Bermuda, charge per container. Even still, that's still an additional cost. Bermuda already suffers from a cost of living crisis, right? We already have people who are struggling. We had Denise Carey on just yesterday. We have a high percentage, much higher percentage of homelessness in Bermuda than most other countries. We are in a crisis. We are still going out partying. We're drinking. We're spending. We're taking trips. We're buying, material things. Are we not taking this serious enough? Our government, we need to know, where do we stand? How do we respond to this? Corporate income tax. I mean, watch when Trump finds out about that. We're in a crisis, folks. And again, I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm no expert in finances or economics. We'll have both Mr. Craig Simmons and Mr. John Barrett on, as our budget is stated to take place, May 2nd, early May sometime. This is an interesting time for all of us. And what I really, truly, truly hope, truly hope that not one Bermudian thinks this is not going to impact them. I really, really hope we're not there. I really hope that we understand what this means. Again, we were talking the other day about those old trips we used to take to New York, right? This is an interesting time. Audience, here's your question. What should the government of Bermuda, or how should the government of Bermuda respond to Trump's tariffs? What ideas do you have, and are you concerned about Trump's tariffs? We've got, yes, Marquita Lee says yes, she's concerned about Trump's tariffs. What concerns you about him? Suzanne Ingham says, cut us some slack with these tariffs. We are out here by ourselves, have supported you for donkey's years. Sheesh, bye. So Bermudian. We appreciate it. But what are your thoughts, audience? You're quiet. What are your thoughts on this one? What should the government do? I mean, this is going to impact retailers. I mean, there are retailers. There are retailers who employ people. Like they're going to have to eat this cost. Retail is already hard in Bermuda. For a country where literally everything is imported. Like I asked a question last night. I was like, So the Trump tariff's 10% because Bermuda has 10% reciprocal on exports. So I'm like, well, what the heck does Bermuda even export? My silly self didn't even think because I thought that, Gosling's was, made somewhere else at this point, right? Because of cost. But no, Sanchez shared. No, Gosling's is exported from, that's Bermuda's largest export, rum, apparently. But that the country really benefit from that? No one has any idea. Are we prepared? Like, are you all prepared for Trump's tariffs? Like, are we good? Are we fine? Is everyone okay with it? Not worried about it. We still partying. Good Friday, Bermuda Day, Heroes Weekend, Cup match. We're good. Okay. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he says, I'm extremely concerned with Trump's tariffs, and I do not have an idea on what the government can do. I mean, this is why we elect them, right? We elect them because we trust that they have the ability to negotiate on our behalf with world leaders, right? Amari Simon says, don't even try to make sense of the tariffs. Bermuda has a trade surplus with the US. The 10% is apparently a flat rate. Well, the 10, I'm even thinking of it like this, though, Amari. Like, I think what's scarier than the 10% is the article from Bermuda Broadcasting, right? That Bermuda Container Line. That to me is even more scary because the 10% is one thing, but let's say a retailer, if everything they're using comes from China, and I don't think we have any direct ships from or airline or shipping from China, so it likely goes through the US. I mean, from my understanding, that tariff's going to impact that. So I'm challenged with it. I am challenged with it. No, on the other hand, some may say if they took a neutral view, well, Donald Trump's doing what anyone should or would do to protect their country's interest and economy, to bring jobs back to the United States. Here's the challenge with that. It's almost like Bermuda, right? How Bermuda for years we said, well, we want to protect job categories and we want Bermudians in hospitality and tourism. Well, Bermudians working in that space cost a bit more money. So those shirts that are being made, not that I agree with it, for next to nothing wherever in the world, now being forced to be manufactured and made in the US, will drive up cost of those products. Am I understanding economics correctly, folks? Holly Rich says, yes, I am concerned. There should be concessions, but as you said, Jamal, once Trump hears about the CIT, we're screwed. Well, I was being facetious. He's probably already knows, but you're right. Like, once he finds out there's another opportunity, he's to say that, you know what? All these billions of dollars leaving our shores, let's bring it back. Unless he too is benefiting from offshore. Amari Simon says, definitely scary. I'm just saying, don't look for any logic in his decision. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I am here trying to do that. That would be a mistake of mine. Look, folks, I think it's an look. We already have economic issues in Bermuda, man. We already have it. I'm looking for the government at this point. I'm putting this on not just the elected majority government. I'm putting this on the opposition. I'm putting it on everyone who put their name forward to run in the last general election. This is a brainstorming session. This is a brainstorming session for the entire island. While some may have more than others, we're still all going to be impacted. Charles H. Jefferson II said, we are as silent as the government because we have no idea what this means. I'm hopeful that our fears will be addressed in the coming days. Bottom line, it doesn't sound like a positive move for us. Well, I'm more concerned about what I do understand, which is what John White explained. You know, he broke that down in that Bermuda Broadcasting article by Gary Foster Skelton. And if you haven't seen it, go on to bbc.bm, folks. But it's a scary read, man. It's a scary read. Tasha Max 74 on Instagram says it's terrifying, to be honest. You know, the early under is Chinese. It's the 1.5 million that scares me. You know, and our audience, honestly, I'm not here to scare anyone. I don't want any. I am ignorant on this stuff. I am not an expert. I read from my point of understanding. Because I was, went to business school, I understand finances a bit, but it's still not my expertise. It's scary, man. It is. And I just want, now more than ever, I'd like to see the opposition, the government, those in politics involved, the business community. I just want all of them to come out and have an honest public conversation of what the next steps are, because not everyone is an expert in understanding how this works. Let's go through these last few comments. Kajay Matthew says, definitely concerned about Trump's tariffs, but I'm always an optimist. So it's time for our government to maturely take a seat at the big table. No more ideas, effective strategies only. Indeed. Michael Daniels says the government needs to turn to the local companies that are involved in this area and work with them to accomplish a viable solution. Like, are you mean shipping companies like Best and mailboxes and stuff like that? When you say local companies in that space, Michael Daniels. Kathy Rogers said, extremely concerned, not hardly prepared. The increase on everything is going to be insane. Still trying to figure out a solution or suggestion. Catastrophic. Seriously. Mark Oxley Phillips said he read the BBC article and I was shocked. Charles H. Jeffers II says, I agree that this is a national issue that needs the best minds to come together to determine a path forward. Yeah, like the Brian Duperreaus, the Sir John Swans. We need those people in a room. David Burt, the premier, the Curtis Dickinsons, Jason Haywards. We need the Jerian Richardson, Scott Piermans, Doug DeCuto. Like, we need everyone on board. Kathy Duffy, welcome her in, get her input. Craig Simmons. I welcome Bermuda's first Black CPA, Gene Atherton. We need these folks in that room. Kelly Clark Madeira says, it is like when COVID hit the world, we didn't know what was coming or its effects, short or long term. Absolutely. Very similar. We've got Renee Simmons. We're in dire straits, she says. I believe it has already started as I paid customs for a 2-pound package. I mean, an empty box, which cost me $45, but normally I would pay $14. I thought that was odd. Interesting. Folks, we've got to bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. We've got Kelly Hunt coming up with a very important conversation. It is Child Abuse Prevention Month, but these tariffs, look, do yourself a favor. Many of us are not experts on this topic or these conversations. But when I say share these conversations with your friends, your family, your colleagues, we need to be talking about them. Right now, we need to be scanning the internet, going on Bloomberg, and reading to understand. And with ChatGPT breaking stuff down, go on ChatGPT or a Copilot or whatever you choose to, Gemini or whatever it is. But it's time for us to spend time learning about how economies work. If not now, then when? This feels like the chickens coming home to roost for an economy that has been over-dependent on international business. Let's give thanks to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Then we'll bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, folks, if you've appreciated the discussion, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, please give us a like, love, follow, share the conversation with your friends, family, and colleagues. We're going to bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, M to the P. How are you?
Feeling pretty good, but also things are worrisome this morning. So yeah.
You know what? You know what will ease your worries? You
Okay.
get to see me tomorrow, player. And I have I have your gift from Kenya that I still haven't given you in.
Oh
Yeah.
And you also have the shirt of Caitlin Bob.
I have that. And I have another gift for you, but I'm not telling you. I think you're really gonna like it. You're really gonna like
I'll
it.
take your word for it.
Yeah. Hold on. MP, I have to say this. But because of Trump's tariffs, I'm not gonna be able to get you any gifts anymore. So this is like the last gifts I'm ever getting you in your life. I'm just saying. So, April 15th, that's our birthday, folks. So April 15th, it's probably the last year I got you a gift.
Hey? Huh?
April 11th, I said 15th.
Yeah.
Why did I say that? Oh, tax day. I'm worried about taxes in the US. Sorry, folks. April 11th. I really said April 15th just now.
It's really on your mind, then.
Yeah. Gotta make sure. Can you loan me some money, pay my taxes? I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Probably. Anyway, what you got for us? But no, seriously, tariff wise, right? Like Canada, it seems like is having issues with the US. Mexico is having issues. Yeah. Have you noticed anything like what you've paid for?
In Canada, wise? Not necessarily. No, I haven't found a bump on my end yet. There were signs up in some of the like early on in some of the alcoholic stores. They were like they took away any like American made brand or whatever and things like that. Yes. So I remember that happening early on. Lucky for me, I decided to go completely sober this year, so that really isn't affecting me. But I was just I saw that.
Oh, sorry. It's completely sober. Sorry.
So I saw that happening. And then there's been the Canadian government like increasing like electricity because some like 20% or something of the Americans get their electricity from Canada. It's like it was like been a back and forth of like, oh well, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna do it type thing. So that's happening a lot. I went to a comedy show the other day and they were like every single comedian was basically talking about this in a way that made it seem like for once Canada's actually picking up their bootstraps and like kind of fighting back there.
You know how to fight.
Like the big brother terms of talk about like America, like, and they believe like this has been such a long time and it's like interesting where we're at.
I got a question. Like I think the US population is like 330 million. What's the population in Canada?
It's huge, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I can set
let me Google. I'll Google.
Yeah.
Let me Google that. Well, no, I'm not using Google. Let me use the chat.
Okay, I got 40.1 million on Google.
Oh, okay, well, you're faster than me. 40.1. Okay. So dang. They have almost 300 more million people than Canada. Interesting. Even though Canada's bigger by land.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What you got today for us in news break?
All right. So good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. And just for a reminder, as of today, People's Pharmacy, well, as of the whole of this week, as you know, People's Pharmacy on Victoria Street is open 1 hour earlier. 1 hour longer a day. All right. So the PLP addressed with pride during the lead up to the general election how they have secured more housing in their governance than the OBA has ever done for Bermuda. However, in a recent case regarding housing, the question arises about the conditions because tenants of the Mary Victoria Road and Alexandra Road areas have shared their concerns regarding policies, treatment, and maintenance issues to the Bermuda Housing Corporation. Now, the newly appointed Deputy Premier, the Honorable Zane De Silva, went on to say that he takes these matters very seriously and commits to ensuring all Bermuda Housing Corporation tenants receive fair treatment and reside in safe, well-maintained housing. He says the BHC's mission to provide affordable, quality housing solutions for Bermudians and our policies and practices must reflect this commitment. So what are these issues? Maintenance delays, property management, and unclear communication. And the minister has reiterated the commitment to the 3 pillars in which the PLP stands on when addressing fair ways for Bermudians to live, which is transparency, accountability, and continuous improvement within the BHC. So to that end, he says he will schedule meetings with tenant and representatives to listen to their concerns and their suggestions, which is...
Go ahead, man.
Which is something that was obviously reiterated over the call of the general election, where these are the times to go to these tenants to ask these questions and figure out what the issues are to be resolved.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had Denise Carey on from home yesterday, and this story today. But I know she said she's working with the government, Minister Tanae Furbert. But I wonder what role someone like the Minister of Housing, the Honorable Zandy Silva, plays in, helping to reduce homelessness as well.
That's a good question there. Yeah. All right. So in other news, who will break the silence and set the record straight about Bermuda's Tourism Authority? Recently, the Shadow Minister, Dwayne Robertson, urged the Minister of Tourism, Mr. Owen Darrow, to share the government's plan for tourism and the Bermuda Tourism Authority, as it seems to be, quote, crumbling from the top. He went on to say that the public has now heard conflicting reports of the internal issues within the Bermuda Tourism Authority and the administrative leave of CEO Tracy Berkeley. But the matter is no longer internal due to several leaks. He said, quote, the board, led by its acting chairman, needs to set the record straight for the public. Allowing rumors and conflicting stories to thrive in the public domain only furthers damages the reputation of the BTA. He says, if the CEO and another member of the executive team have been placed on administrative leave, how can another member of the same team now be appointed as the acting CEO? So you will also recall when I mentioned their cultural assessment, which was made public, that they had a report about being a 57% health score within the organization when their benchmark was supposed to be around like 73%. And they also had a lot of data that came out. This is one description here. I'm just going to put up on the screen where there's some things that took a look at where their cultural risk was on the charts and the traits of which those cultural risks kind of relate to. And the report actually initiated a lot of different sentiments about where they stand, where they're at, and how certain people within the company feel. So I'm just going to take a look at this one here particularly because it talks about the highest score that you can achieve for severity as being 3. You see it right there on the screen as to where they're at. Basically, employees view not taking responsibility and gossip as the negative traits that should be stopped and pose the most risk to the BTA's workplace culture. Additionally, the traits including placing blame, playing favorites, and undervaluing people suggest a lack of professionalism with project management. And although the shadow minister wants the minister to break his silence, he's not convinced that the crumbling of the BTA is attributed to the recent leaves themselves. He actually said, quote, it is clear that a new CEO is not enough and Ms. Berkeley should not be the only person left holding the bag. The organization's problems cannot be attributed to just 2 executives.
I don't disagree with him because, look, folks, I don't disagree with what he said. It's not down to 2 people. I always say that if someone's doing wrong and they have others around them, those folks, don't tell me you didn't know this was happening. The only people, in my opinion, who are coming out of this with any credibility are the people who had the courage to resign or leave. And furthermore, as I said last week or week before, when with Sharon discussing the results of that survey, I think we'd get a more clear picture if people who've left had the opportunity to share that survey. You can see just by that nonsense that was written yesterday in the Royal Gazette, someone who obviously knows that the organization's about to burn up and be torn down, trying to hold on to a job that they probably know they shouldn't be in, because if you look at the top down, there's a bunch of people who literally should not be in those positions, right? So it seems more like, well, this is a witch hunt. This is Miss Berkeley's this and that. I never experienced it. Hell, I never experienced the transatlantic slave trade. That don't mean it was right, stupid. Yeah, I said stupid because that's just ridiculous. It's like saying a woman was interfered with or touched, or a child, and just because it didn't happen to you, well, maybe I was an ugly child. That's why it didn't happen to me. Like, it's so ridiculous. And to me, things like that don't help. It just exposes the stupidity and selfishness among the people within the Bermuda Tourism Authority. I'm going to say this here. Burn the organization down and build it back up. It's what they say. When you got bed bugs in your bed, what they say do with the mattress? Burn it, right? The organization is filled with bed bugs. Burn it. So if that means everybody go, so be it. It happens in the IB sector. What makes the Quengo so much better? All right, I'm done. You get me started this morning.
Not the tall beard on deck. Okay, let's move on, close it off with some sports news this morning, guys. So the Bermuda under-17 women's national team did make history when they advanced to the final round of the 2025 CONCACAF Women's Under-17 Championships as one of the two top best second place finishers in the qualifiers. And now they are facing some pretty tough opponents right now. So they're competing in Group A against some of the strongest teams in the tournament right now. Bermuda has faced tough challenges. Their opening match on March 31st saw them take on the host nation, which was Mexico, a powerhouse in CONCACAF, and the result was a 5-0 defeat. Then in their second match on April 2nd, they battled against Haiti relentlessly. They fell 4-1, and despite the loss, the team did show some resilience, with Samuels finding the net in stoppage time, scoring a long-range goal to put Bermuda on the scoreboard, at least for the first time during these. Through those results, though, have not been going their way. The experience gaining this competition is invaluable, though. Competing against top-tier teams does push our Bermuda young athletes to grow. So Bermuda, they will be looking to finish strong, hopefully against Costa Rica on April 5th at 3 p.m. local time. And while they face another formidable opponent, the team will aim to put their hard work into action and hopefully leave a mark in this next game.
Let's go. Let's make it happen. Come on now.
Indeed. All right, looking at the weather today, I know that it's getting confusing down there in the islands because it was thunder, lightning the other day, and then it came sunny at the end of the day. So we're definitely in the mix of leaving winter, trying to go into spring, whatever's going on. But today, still looking like some clouds will be coming through, but it's supposed to be generally sunny as it's supposed to be out there. Humidity might still be pretty high. We got a high of 71.
All righty. Well, today it's World Party Day. Yeah, World Party Day. I want to know from the audience, let's have some fun because we've been dark this morning. What's the best party you've ever been to? The best party you've ever been to. Maya, what's the best party you've ever been to?
That's so hard. That's a very hard one. My mind's thinking about when I was like 8 years old or like something was 7 years old. And I remember going to one of my closest friends at the time, Kira White's birthday party, and we got to ride a horse because the family was like horse people. And that still is imprinted in my mind. I remember that I was very scared, but it was so much fun. Family's always been fun. And then the other ones, I guess my adult years would probably be going to the first ever carnival party I ever went to. I can't remember when that was, maybe like 4 years ago. And it was the Glow event in Bermuda. And that was a really great time.
Okay. I can't remember. I don't remember parties. Like I say this respectfully because I'm transparent, honest with you. All the parties I went to, I got so drunk I can't remember them. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I can't. Yeah, I'm being serious. I think I had a great time at all of them that I can remember or vaguely remember. So, but I haven't partied in years. I haven't partied. I go to like comedy shows and stuff now. That's not a party, you know. So. Obviously, the audience can't remember their parties either, Maya, but I'm glad you could. But I used to enjoy pizza parties when I was young, like going to people's pizza parties and stuff like that.
Like at school?
Like homes, like people, you know, during my time coming up, people used to have a pizza party for the birthday and stuff like that, you know. We didn't have all the stuff they have now, like paintball and you know, whatever the young people do now. They have slides and real clowns and stuff. We couldn't afford that. I know where I'm from.
Someone in the family could have dressed up like a clown. Still being creative.
Oh, yeah, this is true. Yeah. All right, MP. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Don't sound so excited. Jeez.
I have such an early flight. Like I have so much to do. That's all. Like I gotta. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. In what state? I don't know, but you'll see me.
Hope Trump lets you in the country. That was funny. My Palacio, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our very special guest today. We've got Kelly Hunt coming on. Folks, please, you want to be a part of this conversation. Child Abuse Prevention Month is April, and we need to know the part we play. 3 minutes, 54 seconds. See you in a few.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Attention home renovators and design lovers, your dream space starts here. The brand new Kohler retail showroom at BAC Group is now open, bringing you up to 35% savings on all Kohler products at U.S. manufacturer suggested retail prices. That means no extra fees, no freight, no wharfage, no duty, no document processing fees, just pure cutting-edge Kohler design at unbeatable value. From sleek kitchen and bathroom faucets, vanities, toilets, to statement sinks, walking tubs, and spa-worthy bathtubs, BAC brings innovation and luxury within reach. Visit the BAC showroom on Mill Creek Road today for style, quality, no surprises. Just color from BAC.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Children depend on every single caring adult in our community to make sure they are safe from sexual harm. Keeping them safe not just in April, but every day. Whether you're a parent, a guardian, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or a caregiver, we ask that you take just 3 hours out of your busy schedule to learn what you can do to make sure the precious children in your life are protected. They are worth it. Join the SCARS certified adults by simply visiting our website to sign up for a free SCARS training session. Learn about online and body safety, how to protect them, and how to respond if they are harmed. This information is vital to their well-being and their future. Because they are children, it is our responsibility, Bermuda, to protect them. Visit scarsbermuda.com and learn what you can do to help the child in your life stay safe.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Alrighty, welcome back to The Big Show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Excited. As noted earlier in the show, there wasn't people reached out last night. It did say that the gala was sold out. That error has been fixed. Well, it wasn't an error, but it has been. You are allowed to purchase tickets again. And in saying that, we're very excited to be honoring Glenn Blakeney for his contribution, a lifetime contribution to the media industry in Bermuda. But also we're excited that Jonathan Howells, the CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, which is the parent company of the Royal Gazette, excited to have Trevor Lindsay of TNN, Jasmine Patterson of Bermuda Broadcasting News, as well as Miss Thang Christie from Power 95 on a panel that night to discuss the importance of local media. All right, so very exciting panel. Hopefully we'll see all of you there to engage in what we hope is a very celebratory night. But without further ado, we've got a very special guest today. We're going to bring Kelly Hunt in for what we deem a very important conversation, as it's Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we're going to discuss what we can do to ensure that not only our children are protected, but how do we look for things that may be, a bit different. All right, let's give a warm TDH welcome to Kelly Hunt. Greetings. Hello, how are you?
Hello. How are you? My goodness, you guys are depressing this morning. Like, you're really. I'm here to bring some light to this heaviness.
It feel like that sometimes, they say.
Right?
Yeah, it happens like that,
It does. It
You know
does.
what? I didn't even got a joke in today. Usually, I would try to bring one of my world famous hilarious jokes, and I didn't get one.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do.
But I gotta ask you before we get into today's conversation with you. It's World Party Day. Like, come on, give us something. What's the best party you've ever been to?
I love that Maya went straight to like her childhood, beautiful, innocent, and you just went like, okay, we, cop match that time we won. Do you remember that time?
Yeah.
That was a good day.
We don't have this anymore.
No, but we're keeping hope alive. We're keeping hope alive. And so, yeah, speaking of hope, as you said, it's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I know what you're saying. It's every month, right?
Absolutely.
But this is the month that the powers that be decided that we get to really talk about it. So let's talk about it.
Indeed. But before we jump into that, just let the audience know a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
So I know it says CPC. That's because the Coalition for the Protection of Children is a very long name as someone who types that out every day. So I'm from CPC. I'm the executive director there, and I have an amazing group and team of other women who go into the schools and they talk about a lot of things that are really important for children to know. So preventative education measures. We also provide breakfast in the schools, and we do a bunch of other things like advocacy work and so forth. But today, and for the purposes of this, I think it's just really important to talk about what we are talking about with the children so that the adults know what it is we're doing there and what we're discussing with them, and they can ask questions because we are discussing 5 safety rules, and the goal is to get every student to know this, every young person, but then also that is known by the adult community as well. So SCARS does.
Let's go back a bit. Just follow me. Let's go back a bit because there are people who
I'm excited.
they don't know what this CPC is. Just explain what the coalition is. I know what you said that what your group does and so on, but just explain if someone's listening for the first time, never heard of the Coalition for Protection of Children. Just explain what it is.
So it's a nonprofit organization, and the main mission is to ensure that every child in Bermuda grows up in a safe and nurturing, healthy environment with equal access to opportunities. So there are a bunch of clients that we have, families that we serve that have been historically underserved. So we want to make sure that they have, all of their basic needs met, and that we're giving them, information and empowerment pieces so that they can be self-sufficient in a time where, as you discussed earlier, the struggle is real. And we don't want that to affect our children. So that's really our main mission and as an organization.
And I think, as you said earlier, I mean, these conversations can be very dark, but they shouldn't be. I mean, this is really prevention, right? Prevention shouldn't be dark. Prevention should be something that is engaging, it's educational. But in speaking about prevention, I think a lot of people don't know what child abuse is. They just think physical, like somebody being, physically hurt or so on. Can you just explain what child abuse is to give the audience some understanding?
Sure. So the physical one is obviously very important, and that does include sexual abuse as well. But there is emotional, and that's one that's very difficult, particularly for children to sort of wrap their minds around. So we have to do that developmentally in a way that they understand. Neglect, one of the most underreported forms of abuse, and the way we talk about that with children is really those basic needs and how important that is, and that it's, adults' responsibility to make sure that they have all those things. Domestic violence, big one in Bermuda. A child witnessing that, that is a form of abuse, and it's one that we sort of miss and forget to talk about, but that has a huge impact on their well-being. even exposure to content that's inappropriate,
Mm.
whether it's sexual or whatever, that is a form of abuse. Of course, there's peer on peer bullying. And as we, get into the digital dangers conversation, there's obviously cyberbullying is huge because, you can hide behind that screen. And relationships, when we talk about our teens, they're in teen dating violence is a real thing, controlling behaviors, things like that. So we do get into those topics as well. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot on the board, not just that physical. So.
But your team does such a wonderful job, and I'm glad you brought up the breakfast program because I know you've been doing that for years. It is Child Abuse Prevention Month, but you do stuff throughout the year. Can you just share what you're doing this month in particular, but let the audience know, go a bit deeper in what you're doing to educate and engage the community throughout the year and to really give back? And what does the breakfast program look like?
Oh, the breakfast program is one of my favorite. It's we're in 17 schools and we serve every day of the school year. So that is thousands and thousands of breakfasts. And that just makes sure that everybody gets that opportunity to start the day ready to learn. And we know the importance of that. So we have coordinators in each of those schools that make sure that they, get the right supplies and tell us about the participation. And, it's one of those things when I explain it to people and they're like, oh, the at risk, we don't really say at risk at this stage in life. Breakfast should be for everyone. Anybody who wants to come and enjoy breakfast, we are only in the public school system, but if you want to come and enjoy breakfast and sit down with your peer and be, talk to the coordinator there, that is the opportunity. So we don't want to stigmatize it. We don't want to say, this is for a certain section of the school body. This is for everyone to enjoy and a service that we enjoy providing. So,
indeed, and I mean, when I hear about that program still going on, it's impressive. It's impressive. How do you go about, like, beyond the breakfast program, educating the community on this? Like, I mean, there are certain things that, when I asked the question earlier, when people think of abuse, they normally think of physical, but how do we go about identifying it and helping? How do we help once we identify it? Like, what's the stages? And you mentioned 5 things. Was it 5?
5 safety rules. So
yeah. What are the 5 safety rules?
Let's talk about the 5 safety. So it's know what's up. So these are the ones that we're teaching, and they're the same. So from P1 all the way up through high school, these are the same 5 rules. It's know what's up, spot red flags, make a move, talk it up, and they love the no blame, no shame. So those stay the same, but they look very different in terms of our conversation. So for a P1 student, it's the empowerment, it's the education of understanding those different terms and languages that we give them about public, what's permanent, things like that, basic concepts. And the empowerment part is really that, there's only one you in the whole wide world. And so that makes you super special, and no one should hurt you on purpose. And I think that concept alone, as we, keep that going throughout up through high school. I mean, in high school, we're talking about revenge porn at this stage, right? And sexting and, difficult conversations that, some parents and caregivers don't know how to have. So we want to make sure that in the know what's up, it's about communication. And you do a great job because you are asking open questions, right? And that gets your guests to talk. We should do that with our children, not just how was your day? And then it's just fine, it's shut down. But what was the best part? Tell me about the best part of your day. If there was something that you could change about today, what would that look like? Really developing a relationship from a very young age so that by the time they get to adolescence, which can be it is tricky. It's it's a very difficult time, that they're used to talking to you, right? So they're used to sharing what happened when you weren't around, and you know, they know the concepts of it's my body. They know, you know, the concept that if, you know, something that's permanent, something that's public, when we talk about digital, the responsible use of technology and digital dangers, they understand those things. You can take a marker, a Sharpie for a 5-year-old and say, look, when we put this here, we can't erase it, right? Or if we take a balloon and open that window, if it's a helium balloon and we let it go, we can never get that back. So simplified concepts from young ages are really good. So knowing what's up. And then spotting red flags is, you know, we always talk about that in relationships. I think as adults, it's like, oh, that's a red flag, right? But it's really those personal boundaries that, you know, where your bathing suit touches. That is something that's very personal and private to you. Nobody should, you know, ask you to touch those. Nobody should want to take a picture of those. You know, that's really important to understand those boundary pieces. Correct names. I don't, you know, Jamal, I'm going to say something that you probably no guest has said before on your show, but you know, it's okay to say the word vagina. It's okay to say penis. These are anatomical pieces of, like, these are parts of our body. You know, it shouldn't be so uncomfortable. I see adults giggling when we say these things, you know, but it's important, right? And then for the digital part of spotting red flags, you know, it's the way we behave online. Yeah. It's pausing before we post. It's understanding that in a gaming environment, it's unrealistic to teach our children, you know, don't speak to anybody else online, because if we don't have Chuck E. Cheese, right? But if we went to, like, do you remember in Dockyard we used to have the that little game room in the back of
Walkies or something, or what was it?
It was like Frog and Onion. No.
I know what you're talking about. I remember.
It was like you could sit next to, you know, a stranger and you could like race cars and stuff like that.
You're aging me, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
Easy. I'm joking.
Easy.
But no, I got you.
But you know, you would say if that guy, you know, took a good nip and beat you, you'd be like, all right, yes, like you would speak to them. It's going to be the same online, but the rule is that you're talking about the game. If you're talking about anything other than the game, you know, that's where it gets, that's your boundary online, right? So that's spotting red flags, those things, and make a move. Make a move is, you know, us as adults knowing that it's our responsibility. If you suspect that a child in your life or around you is dealing with abuse, you report it. We're all mandated reporters. And one of the last concepts I'll leave you with that is it's better to offend an adult than to harm a child, because they deal with that for the rest of their life, right? Good beginnings last a lifetime. And so when it comes to that, or no blame, no shame, if something has happened, the way we respond to a child is critical, right? It's not, why were you there? What did you do? They won't talk to you, right? It's never their fault if something happens to them. So even as we teach all of these things, it's never their fault. And so those concepts are the key ones that we want everybody to know, not just our children, because it is our responsibility.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, as you're speaking, I think the community has such a big role to play in this. You know, I just think of the violence that's happened in our community as far as like murders, and how they're, you know, of the murders that were committed in Bermuda last year, there's been no one that has been charged as far as my recollection. And I feel like things like that, just no consequences, just roll out all over our community in terms of people not facing consequences for their actions against anyone. You see cases over the last couple of years where people are brought to justice finally for things that they did to children many years ago. I think where I'm at is the community's role, like, to ensure that we're not doing this, because I think there was a time where we were taught not to believe it. Well, that's just children telling stories, or, you know, this person would never do that. And you see people saying, oh, we protect adults. And what you said just now was so important. I'd rather offend an adult than, allow it to be harmed. Like, yeah, like, I mean, look, the children they're going to likely have longer lives than that adult, that they're going to have to live with this stuff. So I appreciate that. But that said, audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. But Kelly, what more can the community do? Because so many people, especially now after today's dark conversation, they have their own lives, their own challenges, their own struggles, and they feel like, well, that's none of my business. Like, how do we make it the community's business to protect our children and help prevent the abuse that may be taking place sometimes right next door in front of their face?
It's an individual choice, right? So it's when we look at two children who have grown up in the same situation, perhaps haven't had a lot of resources or support, or even have had something terrible happen to them, and one of them has really become successful and achieved their goals versus another one who wasn't able to get to that point. The difference that we find is one safe adult, just one person that sees that child and that potential and invests in them. And it doesn't have to be a parent, it doesn't have to be a teacher, or it can be a neighbor. So for that child, and everybody watching has somebody in their life that's younger, that they can just invest that time to see them. Because when we look at people, unfortunately, who have been, let's say, incarcerated or whatever the case, it's like, what happened? It's like, no one saw me. No one saw me. No one saw me. And I think that's really profound. And that's what we can do as individuals. It's just, see our children for the potential. I say to mine, I'm like, I was just born before you, right? It's my job to just educate you and give you the information, because you're going to make choices. You're going to make wrong ones. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, right? But, I'm just here to be that vessel of somebody that you can turn to for whatever, you want to talk about. I can't always fix it, but, I'm here.
And how can, like, people, obviously, it's a charity, mostly charities that do this kind of work, yourself, SCARS and the like, but how can people in our audience and the greater community be of assistance and play a role in the work that you do?
Yes, get SCARS trained. I'm here to plug. They do an amazing job. So definitely get SCARS trained. What can they do? Really be interested in some of the work. Like, look at the 5 rules. Talk to your children about those things. Understand what it is that we are fighting for, whether it's in the preventative education space or the legislative and policy agenda space. We were an organization formed on advocacy, and we're still plugging away at that today, right? There are things that need to be changed, policies that need to happen. Find your space and your interest and get involved. It's really that simple. Just get involved.
And not to go to politics, but is there anything legislatively or policy wise that can help protect our children as far as abuse that maybe we can push for, or that hasn't been considered? And I ask that only
how long you got?
No, seriously, because I don't want to put you in that political space, but Maya did a report last week which really highlighted how many of our laws are so old and they only come to light when something happens. And so I can only imagine what you all must have. Like, I mean, please take your time, because
let's just talk about one, right?
Okay.
What do you think the fine or imprisonment is if you are charged with child abuse?
It should be life.
Section 19, and we'll look it up real quick in the Children's Act.
In Bermuda, right now, the law being so old, I'm probably gonna say $2,000 fine and 18 months imprisonment.
Not bad, not bad. I mean, you went over on the imprisonment, but because it's 6 months, up to 6 months. But yeah, $3,000. So you can potentially change the entire trajectory of a person's life, another human being's life. And essentially, I mean, I don't know the difference between that and if you get caught by the SPCA. Like, it says a lot about how we value our children, right? The law says a lot about what our values and beliefs are. So you're right. I mean, it's very antiquated. 89, I believe that one. You know, we've had some amendments in 2019, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
There's a long way to go. Right.
And this is why I take what we do so seriously and having these conversations, because I guarantee you, this is something that people will not speak up about, or, you know, I'm not going to say complain, but share their concerns about until it hits them directly.
Right.
18 months, I thought you were going to say, no way, Jamal, it's 5 years. To the fact it's only 6 months.
6 months.
That's insane. I mean,
yeah, sentencing guidelines in general, right? You know, we see like guys are getting locked up for drugs longer than guys, you know, who've killed people or even, you know, pedophiles.
Yeah.
And then the reason why we don't report things in Bermuda is because we don't have faith in the system that, you know, abusers are going to go away and you know, get the help or whatever that they need. Or sometimes, you know, they shouldn't be in regular the general population. You know, that's the reality. And we have to have those difficult conversations. But, you know,
and I think conversations like this, and again, audience, this is why I ask people to share the conversations with their friends, family, and colleagues, because I don't like the idea and how small towns, small communities move. Like, we tend to move only when things impact us. This is something that, again, and I'm grateful to Maya and Teo and Simone for bringing this to light, where they're going to be doing more stories about antiquated laws that have been on the books that, like, right now there's a focus on the abortion law. Like, I didn't even know that you had to get approval from a board and so on. So things that existed 50 years ago, folks, it's not just race. I'm sorry to say it, but there's a lot of things that impact us in ways that if you looked at it, you're like, wow, how is this a law? We have to take a look at it. And conversations like this bring this to light. My hope is that we continue it. And when that MP comes on your doorstep, or if it's not an election, you go on their doorstep, you're having these conversations with them. Kelly, before you head out, what else would you like to say to our audience about this most serious, you know, the work that you all do at the coalition?
I guess the last thing I would really leave is reiterating the concept: be that safe adult, be that person that sees that child, get in the know, you know what's up, be curious about those things, and you know, understand that concept of good beginnings that last a lifetime. So you can be that person that really does create change, and collectively together as a community, we can be a light to others, right? So it starts with ourselves.
Yeah, you helped me just now. I usually ask my niece how was school, and I'll be asking, like, how was your day? Oh, what did you enjoy about your day? Like, go a bit deeper. Like, find, you know, let them feel comfortable to tell you the details about their day. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank
and
you so much. And to your
no worries. Don't be a stranger. Seriously, these are important conversations, and we'll be in touch with you very soon. Have a wonderful day, Kelly.
Thanks. You too.
All right, Kelly Hunt from the CPC, Coalition for the Protection of Children. Appreciate the work they're doing. Audience, it is our responsibility to support these organizations and the work that they're doing. We're going to take a final break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, 8 seconds to wrap it up. And we've got a daily play for you, so do not go anywhere. I want to see how many of you get this easy question correctly.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, It will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
BAC's new Color showroom is now open. Throughout April, for every $50 spent, your name will be entered to win great raffle prizes. Come learn from BAC, where luxury meets affordability.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Alrighty, welcome back, folks. Thanks again to Kelly Hunt and the Coalition for the Protection of Children for the work that they're doing. Folks, it's imperative for us, each and every one of us, to connect with our community organizations who are doing the work that's necessary. One of the things I really, really don't like, and I've been guilty of it myself, is that we tend not to care until we feel like it impacts us directly. It's just not the way that we should be doing life. So I'm thankful to her, thankful to her team, thankful to all the community organizations, SCARS, PALS, Bermuda Cancer and Health, every last one, KBB, who continues to trust this platform to engage our community and be a part of the change that we want to see and be. If you haven't already, whatever platform you're on, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It costs you nothing, folks. Just take this 1 second. Give us a like, love, follow, share it. Even if you found something funny. It was not much funny today, but you get my point. Serious conversations require serious moments and serious responses. All right. Thanks again to the BAC Group, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have conversations with you like this on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, it's a name that plays today. Here we go. All righty. What territory was returned to the People's Republic of China in 1997? Yes, WKD Lama, you got it. It is Hong Kong. Hong Kong it was. I tell you, it was an easy one. Stacey Ann Brown showed up with the right answer as usual as well. Hong Kong. Yes, Hong Kong was returned to the People's Republic of China. Yeah. Has anyone been to Hong Kong before? Anyone in the audience been to Hong Kong? I have not been, but has anyone else been visited Hong Kong? I heard it's beautiful there. Heard it is extremely beautiful. All right, let's wrap it up, folks. Regarding the discussion, look, I'm not here to scare anyone. I think that there are conversations that just need to be had. They need to be had. And knowing what's happening with our economy is important. I don't want us to be in a position where we're caught off guard. You know, I know a lot of people don't like politics, don't watch the news. Some people would rather just watch sports or go to parties and the like. Well, that lifestyle that you have is going to be impacted significantly, and it's probably best that you know sooner rather than later. I do think that it's going to take more than the government. The government are not experts at everything, but key stakeholders need to engage with government. Government needs to engage with them, and the government needs to reassure the people that Bermuda will be okay. How? I don't know. This is not my area of expertise. Maybe this is when we lean on the Curtis Dickinsons that we think so highly of. Maybe this is when we allow the Craig Simmons or Catherine Duffy into rooms to help us work our way through these times. I don't know the answer, but I want to be hopeful that, this will not be as bad as it could be due to the tariffs that are in place. As far as the conversation with Kelly Hunt, as I said earlier, I am very, very thankful for the work that her and her team continue to do for our community. My hope is that people, if you have time, can reach out and support some of their efforts in protecting our children and creating safe spaces for our children. Maybe even a donation on their website. Give back and share with them whatever expertise that you have that can help them accomplish and do the work that they do. All right, it's time for your daily inspiration. Let me just open the book and see what comes up. All right, so we've got, it landed on Rosa Parks today. And Rosa Parks says, quote, I was determined to achieve the total freedom that our history lessons taught us we were entitled to, no matter what the sacrifice, end quote. That was from Rosa Parks. And if you don't know who she was, she is known as the mother of the modern day civil rights movement. She was a seamstress, writer, and a civil rights activist. So that was Rosa Parks' quote. Alrighty, folks. Again, if you haven't gotten your tickets already, we are not going to be able to make exceptions if you have not purchased your ticket for the Daily Hour Gala. We will be honoring Glenn Blakeney for his lifetime contributions to the media space. We'll also have a panel of some very, very quality people in the media space where they'll be discussing the role and importance of local media. So go on to dailyhour.com and get your tickets today. If you want to get a table, you'll have to send an email to admin@thedailyhour.com. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we will be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.